Isn't that what you do at the beginning of shows and stuff?
Oh, that's with like the take card,
Cut.
the black thing
Cut.
with the scene number and everything on it.
Mm.
We don't have one of those.
It's scene number 1.
Scene number 1.
There are no cuts. There are no outtakes. It is only us.
Live here at my sewing room. In January. I don't actually know the date, though.
It is.
The 9th?
The 9th! Good job,
I
Leah!
had to look at the computer.
Oh, you cheated.
I cheated.
I would have just rolled with it.
We're here today to talk you guys through how you could maybe get $1,050 shopping spree here at my sewing room.
That's pretty cool. How?
Well, you might need to get yourself a long arm.
Ooh. That's exciting.
Right? So I think there's many options. We have a very cool Handi Quilter promo going. We're going to talk you guys through today and then figure out how you might decide what long arm you need.
Because we all could use one.
We could all use one. And we all have different amounts of space in our house.
Yes. And if you have 0, nada, zilch,
yeah,
I don't know, however many other ways I could do it. If you don't have any space for a long arm, we do have a rental program here. We have a certification coming up on the 20th?
Yes.
On the 20th. So that's exciting. And then you can rent our long arm and you don't have to make space for a long arm. You could just have 6 more sewing machines.
However, I do most of my sewing really late at night, like after my kids have gone to bed, so I sew like 10 to midnight a lot of the time. And I'm not sure our rental program is open at that time frame.
It is not, so you might need to look at putting one in your house.
Okay, so if I move the kids out and get rid of the playroom,
you need to move them out to get rid of the playroom? Why don't you just get rid of the playroom?
there's a lot of Lego in it.
Oh.
I don't know where the Lego's gonna go.
But then you could sew all the time if you get rid of the kids.
I know. I've got a few more years before I can move the kids out of my house.
Yeah, they're a little young.
They're a little young. So if we can talk through kind of what your long arm needs might be, what mine might be, and maybe help you guys figure out the questions you should be asking yourself if you are thinking of getting a long arm. So first question I usually ask people is, how much free motion quilting have you done?
Not much.
Not much.
The most I did was when Helen Godden was here.
Nice. That's fair. And was that moving a machine around on a frame, or was that pushing the fabric around on a sit-down table?
That was pushing the fabric around. Although I have gone through the rental program.
Okay. And I know you've quilted a quilt on a long arm here in the store.
Yes, but that was using the Pro Stitcher.
Okay. So in your experience of trying both, what do you prefer so far of moving the machine or moving your fabric around?
Oh, I like moving the machine over moving the fabric because I have a partially torn rotator cuff and I find it a lot easier just doing this versus having the weight on myself or having to maneuver that with my hands.
That totally makes sense. Yeah. I have free motion quilted a fair bit using my home sewing machine, but the thing I always struggle with is space. So I like to quilt somewhat intensely and put too much thread into my quilts.
There is no too
There's
much
no
thread.
such thing as too much thread.
Because isn't a piece of fabric just made out of many pieces of thread?
I think so.
So I think you're just making it stronger.
Yeah. But it would be easier to see what all I've done when I'm doing something more intricate, if I could see more of my project all at once.
That would be nice.
So although I'm pretty comfortable sitting down and stitching like maybe a baby-sized quilt on my home machine, it's definitely easier on a bigger quilt to load it onto a frame, because I actually don't really like basting my quilts, because then I have to like
Me either.
it's clear enough space on my floor to baste my quilt.
Who has room for that?
I
Come
don't.
on.
I don't. So if you're in the camp of you love sitting down to free motion quilt, you find it very meditative, and that's the thing you want to do, I would suggest maybe looking at the Amara ST. Do you want to throw that on?
Do you want it on here?
Yeah, I think so. So if you're in the I want to sit down and quilt I guess I have the camera controls. The Amara ST is Handi Quilter's sit down or stand up. The Amara ST has the height adjustable electronic lift on the table.
Up. You're quilting.
So if you've been sitting for too long and you just need to change how you're sitting, you could stand up for a few minutes, quilt a little bit, sit back down, go back and forth all day to keep your body nice and limber. This fabulous machine, the Amara ST, is on the Bounce Back Shopping Spree promo that Handi Quilter is running here in Canada, and it falls into the you could get $700 back as an in-store shopping spree at my sewing room.
Oh, that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. Right?
I like that.
Right? So that would be the first option for machines if you want to be able to finish your quilts more easily. 20-inch throat on it, so lots of space. Big table to hold up your project.
And it doesn't take up a lot of square footage.
Nope. The one thing I love about Handi Quilter brochures is they all have a floor plan kind of layout on the back. And we should have this up on the web as well, so you can see how much space you would actually need for this machine and to sit comfortably at it. So that gray space in front is the space you'll need to put a chair in. And then there's an option of wings to help hold up your quilts. They're not called wings, they're called side extensions.
Yes. Yes, it is. And
but they fold up kind of like wings.
if you have extensions on, you do need a 6 foot by 6 foot space to put your Amara. Or if you do not, you need 36 inches, so 3 feet by 6 feet, roughly.
So potentially, if you have a rather large walk-in closet, you could fit an Amara ST in a large walk-in closet.
My walk-in closet is filled with clothes, though.
I don't know how to help you there. But lots of houses have like a weird little nook where like you might have had a piano if you're a piano player.
I do have a weird spot like that. It's right behind a couch. I think there's 36 inches of space.
So that might be an option for you.
That might be an option. And then I could walk to the kitchen quite easily. It'd be right nearby.
Right.
So I could cook. And then I could also get some sewing time in there. This sounds like a great plan, Leah.
Right?
Okay, you're selling me.
Okay.
That's one way.
Okay, so sitting, that movable, not a movable machine. That was a stationary machine. So machine staying still, you're moving the fabric. But like you said, your shoulder maybe isn't up for that, to maneuver all that fabric all the time.
It gets tired.
So then we start looking at frame machines, and this is where Handi Quilter totally shines. There's a ton of options, and everything from you've just got a tiny little space in your house, and you're only doing a few quilts a year, and you just want to be able to quilt your own quilts. You don't want to spend a fortune on a machine. I would say you might want to start with the Moxy. So Moxy is Handi Quilter's first movable machine. And it's got a 15-inch throat space. It comes on 2 different frame options. So there's a loft frame that can be set up at 8 feet, or the little foot frame, which is a 5-foot frame. And anything with a frame, the floor plans are going to give you some allotted space around the outside.
Yes, because you have to access the front to load your quilt. And if you're quilting from the back, you need to access the back.
Yeah.
Can you quilt from the back on a Moxy?
If you add the quilt from the back kit, you sure can.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's right there, actually.
Yeah.
I see it now. Okay.
Yeah, so there's options. And if you really like frame motion quilting or using pantographs, just the machine and the quilt from the back kit might be all you need. But if you're kind of like Chelsea and you really love precision, there's a Pro Stitcher Lite that will fit on the Moxy. So then you could add automation.
I do really like playing with the Pro Stitcher. It is very satisfying.
Yes.
And you can skew all your little designs and make them fit block by block. Oh, it's fun.
And it's precise, right?
I had a great time playing with it. It was super
Right?
precise.
Right? So stepping up from the Moxy is the Simply 16. And so the Simply 16 is a 16-inch machine. And again, it can actually fit on more things than most other machines because it can go on the little foot frame, so that little 5-foot frame. It can go on the loft frame, or it can go on the HQ Studio frame. which the HQ Studio frame is the full size stronger frame that can be set up at 10 or 12 feet really very easily.
You're serious right now?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right?
That gets you a lot of space.
Gives you a ton of space.
And so many options.
Right?
I love that. Okay.
And so one of the nice things about a machine of kind of that size, for those of you who have met us in person, we are not the same height.
We make an illusion happen while we do Facebook.
But there's definitely a thing where you have to be able to reach across the frame of your machine to be able to load your quilt.
Yes, and the way we have ours, it's a little bit harder for me because I am not very tall.
Your arms are a wee bit shorter than mine.
They are precisely the right size for my height.
They are precisely the right size for you. So if you were still wanting to do bigger quilts like queens or kings, you could set up on a 12-foot frame, but you don't have all that depth that you can't reach through comfortably.
That's a great plan. So I don't have to bring a studio or a stool
To reach the
into the quilting area and maybe fall off.
Yeah,
We don't want to do
It would be really hard to like be on a stool to quilt and have to get up and down and go down the length of your frame.
Honestly, it just sounds like I'm going to trip over the stool and then move the machine into the bad spot.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to have to do some picking.
Yeah. So this might be a really great option for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just have to like move your couch out or your partner or your roommate.
Many options. So many options.
So many options.
Or I could just put it in my bedroom.
Yeah, that would work too. Next up in the lineup is new releasing. I think the first couple have landed in Canada, but the Moxy XL is the next size up. It is an 18-inch machine. So the same great features in the Moxy, just a little more throat space. So again, this will fit on the loft frame or the little foot frame. And again, you could add Pro Stitcher to it. Pro Stitcher Lite. So then you could have that precision that you like.
Now I'm very curious, what's the difference between Pro Stitcher Lite and the other Pro Stitcher that I can't remember?
It's just called Pro Stitcher Premium.
Oh, okay. What's the difference?
So Pro Stitcher and Pro Stitcher Lite, lots of the same functionality in the software. The motors and the mechanics of making the Pro Stitcher go, little less juice in the motors because they're moving smaller machines. And they're fitting on a different carriage and rail system on the
That
frames.
makes sense.
So Pro Stitcher Lite is compatible with the Moxy and the Simply 16, whereas Pro Stitcher Premium is compatible with the Amara series and the Infinity.
Cool.
Or you could also put a regular Pro Stitcher Premium on a studio frame Simply 16. There's a big chart.
I like charts.
Me
We should
too.
look at this someday.
Yeah. So Pro Stitcher is that computerized quilting feature that is available from Handi Quilter. Is phenomenal. The tools it has to create the perfect quilting for your quilt are amazing, and you can scale designs up and down. There's some really phenomenal edge to edge
And it's fast.
options. It's fast, and you can do block work. You can do custom shapes. You can record.
Yes.
You can record your own design.
Barb recorded one day, and then I turned it into an edge-to-edge design.
Nice.
It was so cool, because then you have the consistency between that first design you've done and then all the other ones. And it turns it into your own panto.
Right?
I love it.
So super cool. There's not much you can't do with Pro Stitcher.
Does it make dinner?
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's okay. I still like it.
Okay. Okay, so moving up in the lineup, machine-wise, maybe you want even more space than that 18-inch Moxy XL. The Amara 20 is a phenomenal machine. It's a nice weight to run. That 20-inch throat gives you lots of quilting space, and this is going to be on a Studio 3 frame. So studio frames have changed, but improved over the years, but the newest version is the Studio 3. And this can be set up at 10 or 12 foot.
Lots of space.
But the nice thing here, if you've got a weird like set of stairs to get into where you're taking this, lots of people put their long arms in their basement.
But then it's so far away.
Yeah, but maybe that's the only empty space in the house.
True, and then you could quilt later at night because nobody's around.
Right?
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah. The boxes are 4 feet long. So they're very
that's
manageable.
nice.
And it's pretty easy to set up and put together. So quite friendly. The Amara is awesome. Love the Amara. Coming up in the Amara collection of machines, again, newly released in Canada is the Amara 24. So they've taken all the great things in the Amara 20 and stretched it out another 4 inches. And then I'm pretty sure it gets to go on a gallery frame.
Gallery frame, you are correct.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's lots of options. Gallery 2 frame that way, or that way set up, or a 14-foot gallery.
Yeah, so you would buy a
12, 10.
You would buy a 12-foot frame and a 2-foot extension to get up to that 14-foot frame. So if you're a quilter who likes to make like super king size quilts all the time,
What's a super king size quilt?
even bigger, I don't know. Maybe it's super queen is the size, not super king.
Like,
I'm just making up.
are you
sizes.
thinking like California
that's
king?
Yes, that's the size I'm thinking. If you do a lot of big quilts and you give everybody that you know like a queen or a king for a wedding gift, there's lots of people who make quilts that way.
This would be a lovely
That would
size
probably
for
be a
that.
really nice size for you. You could throw your Pro Stitcher Premium on that,
And then away you go.
and then away you go.
You know how it used to take you like 30 hours to quilt that king size quilt? Well, now it might take you what, like 3, 4?
Well, you don't you roll it on the rollers, and you don't have to base the quilt.
Yeah, you just sit there, smooth the quilt once in a while,
Advance once in a while.
watch it go. You may, maybe have
Replace
a sip
the bobbin now and
sip
then.
of coffee.
Yeah. Yes. And then our very last option, because we're running out of depth that people can comfortably reach,
It's okay, there's 2 sides. I can walk around.
is the Infinity, which is the 26-inch version in Handi Quilter's lineup. So even more space. And so if you like making quilts with really big blocks that you want it to be able to quilt, say a 16-inch block all in one go, having that deeper throat will make that easier, because as you roll up your quilts, your quilting space does narrow up a little bit. So that you could do great big passes or great big medallions or really cool block work.
Blockwork sounds fun.
Right? And again, you could run this with the quilt from the back kit on the back,
You could.
or you could throw a Pro Stitcher Premium on. And all of the frame machines have options for ruler bases if you want to do ruler work.
Oh, I was totally going to ask that question.
Beat you to it.
Darn it.
Beat you to it.
Because rulers are really cool. And
Rulers are really cool.
Handi Quilter has such a variety of rulers.
With
out.
great tutorials.
Amazing tutorials. I was also maybe last week or so, I was looking at all the rulers. I was like, holy moly.
Right?
I found this one graph. It's in one of our e-newses. And it shows this one ruler that's like,
Clamshell.
I think it was like that.
Yeah.
That's a very horrible interpretation, but if you find the e-news, you'll see what it looks like. And then it showed all the ways you could use the ruler to make your lovely little shapes.
Right.
And I definitely only thought it had 2 uses, but I think it had 5.
Yeah. Yes. So last but not least, why would you want to buy a long arm right now in January when it's not snowing in Calgary yet?
But because then you won't have a reason to go outside. That doesn't sound too bad at all.
Yeah, I would buy it now
So you can stay inside.
so you can stay inside.
I saw somebody has a tornado warning, so they can't go outside right now.
Right?
It'd be perfect to stay in the basement.
Stay in the basement and sew.
I have no idea what happens during tornado warning.
Me neither. It's
But
not
I
an
think
issue
you
here
want to be in the
Calgary.
basement.
Yes.
I feel like that's where you go.
I think so.
I think.
In the cellar?
I don't know. Maybe
know.
Pat can tell us. Cellar. We don't all have cellars.
No, we
man.
don't have cellars here.
Well, maybe if we live in Florida, we would.
Maybe.
Maybe that's how houses are built. To keep you safe.
I don't know.
But you could be quilting right
You
now.
could be quilting. So, just a brief recap. You'll probably want to give us a call if you're thinking about a long arm.
Or come visit us.
Yeah.
If you can come out and hang out with us.
Yes. So the promo is running until January 26th. And the bounce back shopping spree is a shopping spree here in our store. So that could be used on fabulous things like batting or thread or some of those cool rulers that Chelsea shared in the e-news.
Or a ruler base.
Or ruler
for your
base.
machine.
Or a seam ripper.
I see even Pro Stitcher and Pro Stitcher Light are on here.
Right.
Oh my goodness. So you could go and can you get the Handi Quilter Infinity and also the Pro Stitcher and
Yeah,
you get
that's-
both?
I would think so.
Cool.
Because that is two separate things with two seperate serial
That would
numbers.
be $1,750.
That's how I
To
would
spend
play it.
in the store.
Right?
Oh, what would I get? That's the next question. Well, you could get an entire roll of batting.
Yep.
How much is that? Like 400?
depends what kind of batting you want.
Depends on what size, what kind.
Yeah,
You know,
like
so
4 to 7, depending on the roll of batting you're after.
yeah, you could get a roll of batting. Okay, so that takes up. Let's round up high. We'll go
Okay.
7. That's 7 because I'm gonna get the biggest, the bestest.
Yeah.
Yeah, $700.
Problem solved.
I still have $1,000 to spend.
Okay, well, I want thread.
Okay, so we're gonna buy some Isacord. Isacord right now is $9 a spool.
Yeah.
That's 100.
There is an OESD.
My math is
There
not
is
right
one in the store.
Oh,
There's the long arm bundle from OESD.
There sure is, and they have 5,000 meter cones.
Of like
and-
the top bunch of colors.
Yeah, I think it was 40 of them.
Yeah.
And then they had designs in there too.
Yes.
Ooh, that would be a good bundle. Ooh. Ooh.
That's how I would roll.
And then I would spend the rest on rulers.
Okay. I like that plan. I would get batting scissors. So that's a pair of scissors I don't
batting
have.
scissors. They're nice. They're ergonomic.
Yes.
Handi Quilter makes a great set.
So yeah, you could fully deck out your space and get yourself a long arm for the long winter.
That's fabulous. Pat says we don't have a basement, so a room with no windows.
That sounds like a good place to be.
And she was hanging out with us.
Oh, and Julie from Patchabilities. Hi, Julie.
Oh, Julie made it here.
Yes, she
Oh,
did.
that's fantastic.
That's sweet. So if you have questions about long arms, definitely come see us. We have a Forte set up here in the store.
We do.
Which is the version before the Amara 24, but you can get a sense of size and how it handles and everything. Not a lot of changes between the Forte and the Amara 24. But they brought out the Amara 24 shortly after we put a new Forte in the store, so we're gonna hang on to that Forte for a little bit longer. And we could have a machine in your hands in a couple weeks.
We could.
So if that's the way you want to roll, we'd be happy to help you make that happen. Yeah. At whatever price point works in your budget.
And we can totally help you after too.
Right?
With spending your shopping spree money.
I was gonna say with support and classes.
Oh, that too. We could do that. I like the shopping spree. That's really exciting here.
But we're here for you long term after you buy the machine too. So happy to answer those questions, and definitely if you get Pro Stitcher, you'll get some training.
Yes.
Not
We have a
sending you home with-
lovely team in the store here that will get you stitching.
Yes. So thanks for joining us today. I look forward to answering all your long arming questions. And like Chelsea said at the beginning, you really don't have room in your house for a long arm because your kids haven't moved out. We have a rental program.
Yes, we do. We are not renting out children though.
Right.
We are renting out
out
a
the
long
long
arm.
Be fine. Here, you can have my kids to quilt your quilt for you.
Perfect.
That's not how this program works.
No, it doesn't.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on
Bye.
maybe a warmer. No, it's gonna be cold all week. We'll see you on